Hey guys, welcome to another weekly reading wrap-up, weekly-ish reading wrap-up. Actually, this one is pretty much exactly a week from my last one. I think it is. And I read a lot more books this week than I did in the previous, 2 weeks. So yeah, let's just dive in. We'll go in... Oh, I forgot a book. I need to go grab the book. Okay, when I look at the stack with the additional book, it's even more. We'll just go in the reverse order that I read them because that's what I think that's what they're stacked as, so we'll go with this. The first one I just finished last night is called Greetings from Witness Protection. I just shared about this in my library haul, showing you guys all the 40 plus books I have out from the library, which actually isn't true because there was a couple that were already on my red stack that I didn't share. So this is a middle grade book about, I think she's 13, a 13-year-old girl that has been in foster care for years, in and out of homes. Her dad has been in jail for most of her life. She was raised by her grandma, taught to be a pickpocket. And the day that we start the book in, she gets found out that the US Marshals have this new program called Family Project, where they're trying to hide families in witness protection. But because of social media and online stuff these days, they're trying to be more discreet and hide people even better. And part of that is by adding a kid to the family. So she gets added to this family that is hiding in the witness protection program, or about to be. And so that way it throws off the balance because people are looking for a couple with a boy, but now it's a couple with 2 kids. And so her name changes. She's called Charlotte through most of the novel, so we'll go with that. And you guys, I had so much fun with this book. I would have loved this as a kid. I kind of loved it as an adult. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and the reason I knocked down a star is because of the amount of times. I don't even know if it was really that many, but any is really too many. The Lord's name was used in vain. That just drives me nuts. I know that is accurate to how a lot of middle grade kids talk. I mean, our little 3-year-old foster boy has been coming home from visits with birth family and starting to say the F word. So I get that you're a product of the environment that you're in, but I still wish that wasn't a thing in middle grade books. I understand it's in real life, but can we not have that in books? I would really appreciate that. I just realized there's a hair there. Okay, so I can't say a whole lot. One thing that I really liked is Charlotte's personality. So because of her upbringing, her grandma taught her how to be a pickpocket. She's got a little bit of kleptomania, and so she's got some issues, but she is confident and kind, and I really appreciated her character. Some things she needed to work on, but I really enjoyed reading about her. Definitely recommend this book. My daughter is reading it. I warned her about the use of God's name in vain. It's too bad, but I think it is a really good book. Then the book I read before that, very different vein, The Nature of Small Birds. So the nice thing about having a teeny tiny TBR, oh wow, a teeny tiny TBR, that's pretty cool, this month is the fact that I got through my TBR minus a book that I decided not to read. And now I'm working on some books that were on my TBR for last month that I didn't read. And I'm currently reading a book that was on maybe my May TBR that I didn't read. I have a stack of books that never quite got read, and I just feel like I'm flying through books. I'm actually almost done another book. I've been reading so much. Anyway, The Nature of Small Birds. This is 3 timelines. So it's historical fiction in some aspects, but also modern day. So my biggest complaint is the 3 timelines, because this is very confusing. We follow Bruce in 2013. He is the dad in this scenario. And then we follow Linda in 1975. She's the mom. So Bruce and Linda are married, but we're seeing Linda near the beginning of their marriage and Bruce as they have grandchildren. Then we also follow Sunny. She is in 1988 is her timeline. She is Linda and Bruce's oldest daughter, but a lot of the book we actually are kind of focusing on Mindy, who is the second daughter. So I feel like she's kind of our main character in a lot of ways, but she's not even one of the characters we flip between. And I did find it hard to go between these timelines because that's not normally my kind of thing. It takes a lot more effort to read that way, and I kind of like to just read for fun and escape and stuff, so I didn't like that part. But this book was still so good, I gave it 5 stars. So let me actually tell you what it's about. So Bruce and Linda, back in 1975, in that timeline, they end up adopting a girl that has come over from Vietnam. She was, I guess she was part of Project Baby Lift. That was a real thing where they lifted kids out of the country during the war and adopted them in the United States. And so that's what's happening in the 1975 timeline. In the 1988 timeline, Sunny is just graduating high school, going to college. Mindy's a couple years younger than her. So it's just a little bit of their relationship. And then in 2013, we follow Bruce, and he's dealing with a lot of stuff with like his elderly parents, but also Mindy is trying to find her birth family. And as someone that is an adoptive parent, first of all, the point when they got the phone call for Mindy, I was tearing up because I was just thinking about when we were learning about our son, and like very different scenarios, but still it really hit home. There's a lot of talk about birds and the nature of small birds. I love how she gets her book titles, and there's also lots of references to poetry, another thing that I love. And then another thing that I really liked was just how Mindy was looking for her birth family and how supportive her parents are, because I 100% will be supportive of my son if he wants to do that down the road. I know I would want to. I'm a curious person. I would want to know these things. I have a friend that is older and adopted, well, older, like the same age as me, and adopted, and doesn't care to know anything about birth family, even though they're local, and I just can't imagine having that kind of scenario. I would want to know. I would look at everyone that would be like old enough to be my parent and be like, is that my parent? Like, so I get that, and I hope that I can be as supportive as the parents are in here. And yeah, once again, like some books I don't tab anything, and some books I just enjoy so much. Different lines. Okay, here is a line I really liked. I think this was an older lady talking to Sunny and Mindy. Yes, she says, "When life changes, and it does on the regular, we can be sad," she said. "But pay attention, lovelies, oh pay attention, because the ending of one thing almost always means the beginning of something else. God is so kind," she said, "and he's always up to something." I love that. Okay, here's where the book title came from. "It's the nature of small birds to sing their little hearts out, and it's the nature of God to hear them." So yeah, love this book, 5 stars. Then I'll we'll go in the next order here. The next one I read was A Rumored Fortune. This is my second Joanna Davidson Politano. I really enjoyed Lady Jane Disappears. I think in April or May I read it, and I've been wanting to read another one of hers, but wanted to give it a little bit of space so that they didn't kind of merge together, because I know she writes all of her books in the Victorian era. And this one is about a young woman. Her name is Teresa? Is it? I don't even know how to say it. It's Tressa. Anyway, she is just found out that her dad is dead / missing, and they've lived in this vineyard their entire lives, and that's where they make their money. But he's always had this rumor around him that there's like some kind of family fortune that he has, but no one's ever found it. So when he dies, then they want to find this fortune because he didn't leave any actual money. Yeah, so now that I'm describing it, it's like, this sounds really weird. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about it. Our main character is really kind. I really appreciated her character. This definitely, I think I gave this one 3.5 or 4 stars. In my mind, it didn't come anywhere close to Lady Jane Disappears, but there were some things that I really liked about it. Like, I love the way that she writes her main character's relationships with God. Because she says, "Perhaps it's a risk, but I'm willing to take it. You see, I've just asked God for help in providing for my family, and I'm not going to go about wasting his solution." So I like how her characters pray, but then they see a solution and they take advantage of that. Yeah, so I don't really know what else to say about this one. It's a fairly typical, I think, romance side. The romance is a lot more to it, a bigger part of it than in Lady Jane Disappears. I really like the way she writes, and I'm pretty sure this was her debut book. This is, out of all the ones that I have, I think this is the one that was published first. So I'm not sure if she has something else that was published before then, but if this is her debut book, it's really good. Okay, then I have The Language of Flowers. So in this one we follow a girl who just ages out of foster care and doesn't know what to do with her life. This one, it feels a lot like The Pictures of Hollis Woods combined with mostly The Pictures of Hollis Woods, but YA/adult. She doesn't make the best choices, whereas another foster care book that I read, What I Carry, is a YA book, and our main character there is so determined to go against the stereotype of a kid that ages out of foster care, and our main character decides right away to be homeless. But she does get a job working with flowers because she has this history where she lived with a woman for a while who was going to adopt her and then ended up not, where she taught her the language of flowers and that every flower has a meaning. So she ends up becoming a florist, or working for a florist in here, and using the language of flowers to make bouquets. But life gets very complicated, that she makes some very dumb decisions. And I struggle because as someone that has a foot in like the foster care world, it's not that these decisions are unrealistic. I just hate seeing characters make them. Yeah. So there's that. But while I was reading this, I just so happened, this book came in from the library and I've had this one on hold for a long time. My battery's gonna die and then I'll tell you about it. Okay, new battery acquired. Yeah, so I requested this one a long time ago. I think I saw it on Instagram, and it's an illustrated guide to the Victorian language of flowers. So how cool that I would just so happen to be reading this while this one came in. And this one just breaks down like the different flowers, their meaning, origin, and what you should pair it with. So like this one says, rosemary and clover, you pair it with rosemary and clover as a good luck gift before an exam. Mistletoe to show your clever problem solving will overcome the challenge. Because this one means ingenuity and cleverness. Orange blossom means eternal love. And yeah, it's very fascinating. And then they've got bouquets. A bouquet for apology, regret and sorrow, and there was like, I think there was like a revenge bouquet or something in here. There's like friendship, like there's traditional like friendship, courting, marriage, sympathy, apology, a bouquet for warnings. So this one is a bouquet for warnings. You have begonia for warning, oleander for caution, lavender for distrust, foxglove for secrecy, for bitter ends. And this just made me laugh because now I'm thinking like, oh, I'm not into flowers. So I guess that also affects my rating of like this book. I would 100% way rather have chocolate than flowers, but I have gotten some bouquets of flowers before. And now I'm wondering, what was the meaning of the flowers? Was there meaning there that the giver intended that I didn't pick up on? Yeah, so interesting. This one I'm going to end up getting rid of. I'm not going to keep it. This one's really cool to check out from the library. Okay, and then the book I read so quickly is Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village. I saw Anne from Elizabeth Ann Reads rate this on Goodreads or say that she was reading it or something, and that title sucked me in because I've been looking at BritBox lately because I want to do the free trial, watch it a bit. I have so many shows that I want to watch on there, but I don't really watch TV, so I have to wait until the weather cools off. But every other show, TV series that they have on BritBox is a murder mystery. So apparently the English are kind of obsessed with murder. And this one is laid out, it's kind of like comic book-esque format. So we've got the village, and then it breaks down the different buildings and spaces in the village and gives them a little bit of a profile for each one, and like pretty much how you will die in every single place. And I laughed out loud so many times. So we got like the pond, the hall, the pub, the shop, the inn, the fancy antique shop. This one is funny. The antique shop is always closed. The owner is always away. The wares displayed in the window are priceless and covered with dust. This is not a sustainable business model, and yet the business remains afloat. Everyone knows how, but no one talks about it. Don't ask about it. Stop asking questions. Oh, anywhere with a vat. So they talk about all these different ways that you could get murdered with a vat. And then it comes up a little bit later. And then we go into the residents of the village and how they're all out to kill you. The oldest resident. They're the hardest to kill for a reason. So it's a little bit a little bit dark. Oh, here. We brew our own. Would you like to see our vat? So that cracked me up after reading the vat. Yeah, so many funny things. I mean, it's a little dark, but it's just supposed to be obviously not very serious. I don't know. And then I hope not. I've been to England. Haven't been murdered yet. Then they have a village quiz to see if you're going to get murdered or if you'll survive. And I actually survived that one. And then it goes into like the manor and the different places in the manor, the different rooms and the buildings, the hounds, the stables, the gatehouse. And then the rooms inside the house, the kitchen. No, just don't go there. And then we go into the people of the manor. And until we got to the people of the manor, it was hilarious. But then the people, I felt like this just was a little bit, it was a little bit meh compared to the rest of it. But I had a hilarious time. So then there's the manor quiz, and I think it's what, like 5-ish questions to see if you survive. And I died on the last one. So I will be okay in the village, but I will die in a manor. If you like murder mysteries, have read a bunch, I definitely recommend checking that out from the library. It's pretty funny. I cruised through this book, Blood for Blood. So I read Wolf by Wolf, shared that in my last reading wrap up. And this one, we follow 3 of the characters from the first book. So the first book is one perspective. This one we alternate from the 3 perspectives. And I love that because I'm invested in these characters and I love being able to flip back and forth. I normally struggle with multiple perspectives, but it's different when I already am partial to these characters. I love that book 1 was 1 point of view and that this one was 3 points of view. So in this one, we are helping our main character from the last book. I don't know how much to say because I don't want to spoil anything. Well, we are following her and the people that she's with. I can't say anything. It is an alternate history if Hitler and the Axis won the war, and that's probably all I'll say. Go back to my previous video, wrap-up video, if you want to know about book 1, but if you enjoy book 1, this one was even better in my mind. Like, I flew through this. And there is a novella, I think that is set during this time as well. I think that's only a Kindle book. I'm probably going to buy it. And then I see that she has The Walled City, which I believe is another alternate history book, but I don't know what about. So if you guys have read The Walled City, and she also has Invictus. I don't know anything about those two, but I'm very curious because this was so good. So if you've read either of those, let me know. And then the first book that I had started out with, and I was almost done with my last reading wrap up when I was filming it, is N or M. So this is Tommy and Tuppence number 3. So I'm just over halfway because there are 5 of them. Unlike book 2 was a lot of like short stories, it felt like. This one is just one short story. So it is now World War II. So we met Tommy and Tuppence right after World War I. And they're older and feeling like they've kind of been tossed to the sidelines, but Tommy gets asked to help solve a mystery. They think that there are spies at this, I guess it's a B&B, and so he's supposed to go there and try to figure things out. Tuppence is not invited for whatever reason, probably because she's a woman. Tommy doesn't tell her anything. He goes to the bed and breakfast a couple days later and he meets the people, and lo and behold, Tuppence is there because Tuppence is amazing. And also I see there's a little bug on the lens. Okay, not sure if that bug is gonna like show up on the camera at all. Oops. Yeah, so Tommy and Tuppence, I love their banter. I feel like this one definitely felt more like book 1. And I'm trying to remember. This one would have been like a whodunit. You probably actually could solve this one, which would be the first of theirs that you could have solved. So yeah, next month I plan on reading the next one in this series. Okay, there you have it. Those are all the books that I read in the last week and a day. And I've almost finished another book. So I've been reading a lot. It's great. I'm loving this small TBR thing. Let me know what you've been reading, especially if you have any suggestions of something you think that I would really enjoy.